beautiful day in Sundance, Utah so far. This is such a truly special place, and whenever I'm here, I can't help but feel so inspired by our beautiful surroundings and this incredible group of talented professionals. So thank you for the opportunity to share with you today some inspiration of my own. Today, we're going to be talking about how to effectively onboard your customers using their desired medium, short-term video. This is something that I've been living and breathing for the last couple of years in my role at Loom. If you're not familiar with Loom, we are an async video tool. So my experience using video and onboarding is twofold. Not only have I been designing onboarding tracks for my customers, which are layered with videos to help bring them to value throughout the onboarding period, I'm also consulting customers on how to use video to achieve their own ROI and their own goals. So I've learned a couple of things throughout the past couple of years, and I'm really excited to share that with you guys today. My promise to you throughout this presentation is not to share any obvious video use cases. I want to give you guys some sneaky hacks and tricks that are going to help you use video to create a positive experience for your new customers, to build value more quickly, to increase client retention, and to increase your profitability. It's easier than you think, so I want to state that right up front. There are a ton of tools out there that you can use to stand up a program like this within a matter of days, and you don't need a Hollywood budget or a team of influencers to do it. I'm going to show you exactly what to do right here today. So let's take some inspiration from the consumer world, where the trend of video becoming increasingly important has taken hold and is not slowing down. I want you to think about a time you ordered something from Amazon. This could be a small appliance, this could be some kind of unassembled piece of furniture, and you open up the package, you're all excited, only to find a instruction manual that is too long and complicated or entirely too short. So what do we typically do? We take to the internet, we go onto YouTube, and we find a user who has recorded themselves assembling this product. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have returned products from Amazon as a consumer if the instructions are unclear. If I can't figure it out, and I'm like, I'm a pretty smart person, I should be able to figure out how to put together this desk chair. If I cannot, I'll return it. Why? Because it's all too easy to buy something else. It is a crowded, competitive marketplace. You have one opportunity to create a positive first experience, and if you don't, bye-bye. There's something else that somebody can purchase. I was recently struck by this on a trip to New York with my older son, Cody, who you can see here. He is playing a game of Exploding Kittens with my brother. Has anyone ever played Exploding Kittens before? A couple of us. Okay. No actual kittens are exploded in this game, just to let you know, but it's super fun. It has taco cats and bearded cats and all kinds of fun feline creatures. But there's a surprising amount to know about this game. It's similar in concept to Uno. Well, I have to tell you that Exploding Kittens has really nailed the consumer education experience. When you open up the box, you don't find a written instruction pamphlet like you would in a game of Monopoly. You find a QR code, and it takes you to a 4-minute video that's on YouTube. It's got animations, it has visuals, it has just the right level of voiceover compared to the visuals, and in just 4 minutes, my 6-year-old totally understood how to play this game. He'll tell you it was the highlight of our trip. We went to the Empire State Building, we did afternoon tea, we saw the Statue of Liberty, and all he can say is, I loved playing Exploding Kittens in New York. So, way to go, Exploding Kittens. The days of long, boring consumer guides are over, and let's take a closer look at how this is starting to really play out in the enterprise landscape. enterprises are looking to learn from this trend to attract and grow their customers. This enterprise, internet, on the internet, over the last 5 years specifically, the fastest growing platforms are all adding some sort of short-term video content. Think of Instagram stories, Facebook stories, and Reels. These are meant to be digestible and really bite-sized. In 2022, just 3 years later, TikTok, video-only platform, is now the most trafficked site in the world, beating out Google, who previously held the spot for 10 years. Huge shift to video, not slowing down in the consumer landscape. Oh, I can't read my text on here, but that's okay. So short-term video that is easy to find and to share, that people can watch in double speed, and that is skippable, that includes captioning to watch with the audio off, are what are really taking a hold in the enterprise world. And we have a new video first generation that's aging into the workforce right now, Gen Z. If you were here last year and you had the pleasure of watching Tessa White's presentation, she's the job doctor, she shares some fascinating research around different generations and how we prefer to work and learn. A big takeaway here is there is a shift to short-term thinking, and she lovingly calls Gen Z the bye-bye generation, meaning if you're not providing an experience that is great, that is not digestible, that is not actionable, bye-bye, they will move on. You do not have a chance to capture that attention again. So you want to be thinking about this with this new age that is aging into the workforce. So it's no surprise that 72% of customers prefer to learn about a new product, service, or solution by way of video. Video is visual, it's effective, and it can be consumed asynchronously, which is really appropriate for our new hybrid and remote world. Now, we here in this room probably know better than anyone that just because a customer has purchased our tool does not mean we have won the customer. Wouldn't that be great if the sale closes and yes, we have that revenue forever, we've won the customer? We know that's not true. In fact, there are 2 key milestones for our customers before we can actually help them realize their value. The first is when they first sign up. The next is when they achieve their first success. A disproportionate amount of churn is going to happen between points 1 and 2. Why? Well, this is when your customer may abandon your product because they don't understand how to use it. The onboarding is not engaging, it's too confusing, or they simply lose interest and start reverting back to maybe some old tools that they're already familiar with. To minimize this initial churn, smart businesses are focusing on onboarding, ensuring that it is smooth, fast, and engaging. Now, if any of you and your companies are working to improve your retention rates and want to create an onboarding that gets your users to stick around, you're probably beginning to think about where and how you can use video to enhance your onboarding experience. So let's talk some more about that. We're all going to visualize together our customer's journey from first sign up to first value with the tool. And I want you to think about this in terms of chutes and ladders. This is a really fun human-centered design experiment or workshop to run with your team. You can do this live in a conference room with physical sticky notes, or you can use your favorite virtual whiteboard tool to conduct this. Give everyone some color-coded sticky notes. And first we're going to ask, where are our chutes? Where are the areas from point 1 to 2 where our customers are getting confused? What's a common question we always get? Where do people get stuck? Where do they plateau? You're going to generate all of these sticky notes. Guess what? Now you have your list ready to go of these are the first videos we are going to record. We're going to surface them in an email sequence right at the time before we typically get that question or before the customer typically gets stuck there. We are rerouting to avoid that shoot and instead building this staircase to ladder them up to their first success with the tool. I had something like this similar as I was building out our onboarding programs with Loom, and there was this one topic as the bane of my existence. It came up on every single kickoff call when we're supposed to be talking about their goals for the tool and the path that we're going to take together to get them there, and all the customer wanted to talk about first is something called workspace consolidation, which is there's a bunch of shadow IT going on. How do we get all these free users into our enterprise account? And I'm like, this is delaying our time to value, and we're sucking up our precious live time with the customer, talking about technical workspace consolidation. So we recorded a video for this. I surfaced this on the second day after a customer purchases, so it's front and center for them right away. And we make sure to resolve this ahead of the kickoff call. This has actually physically reduced our time to value for all of our accounts, just by automating that piece with a video. So put yourselves into your customer's shoes. They are here, down at the bottom. Start thinking about what they need to learn and in what order. Break it into bite-sized chunks like stairs. Layer these into an onboarding sequence. Even minor tweaks can help your customers to take action. This works for your lowest tech tier touch customers all the way up to your strategic tier customers to have this framework to at least get to that first level of success. Now, there are so many different ways that you can use video in your onboarding, but I wanted to highlight a couple of them for you here today. These are going to range from single use, something you send one time and create for one customer, to evergreen, something that is still receiving views 5 days after you record it. There's also different goals for your videos in onboarding. They can be meant to simply inform somebody effectively about something or to create alignment and connection. One of my favorite things to do, and it's a less than obvious use case, it's really sneaky when well done in customer success, is sending a pre-watch ahead of a live meeting, specifically for a kickoff call. Now, video is fantastic for moving your work to async and actually reducing the number of live meetings you have on the calendar. It's a great way to use video. But in customer success, we don't necessarily want to not have meetings. We want to have good meetings. We want the right stakeholders on those meetings. We want decision makers, and we want to get that customer talking and sharing with us what success looks like for them so we can hit that target and get them to expand and renew. So a couple of days ahead of a kickoff call or an important live meeting, even an EBR or something like that, you're going to have your CSM record a short video. Under 2 minutes long, put a good visual on the screen, maybe some ROI or some stats, and no agenda, no attenda. You're going to use this short video to talk about the agenda for the kickoff call. Hi there, my name is Brittany. I'm going to be your point of contact during the onboarding period. I'm really excited for our upcoming kickoff call. I'm sharing this video so that we can make sure we have the right folks on the call and make the best use of everybody's time. We're going to be talking about X, Y, and Z. Please ensure you have the right individual on the call to talk about each of these pieces and send us through any questions in the meantime. You're going to find you decrease your no-show rate, you increase the level of attendees who are joining the calls, because your video is often shared up with a stakeholder or an executive who actually has the knowledge to talk about these things that you want to talk about. So pre-watch is a fantastic way to use video in your workflows. From Q&A to FAQ. This is how you can start thinking about doing yourself a favor in the future. Record something once that you can share 2,000 times, creating evergreen video content that scales. Here's how you can do this. This is another workshop you can do with your team that's super fun. Everybody, jot down the top 3 questions you get from your customers. Okay, now everybody, record a 2-minute Loom to, instead of answering that question, explain how this feature works. Now, guess what? You have your own onboarding video library. It could take every person just about 10 minutes to do. And you're going to find, once you put this resource together, that you're just going to be able to start surfacing this. Your sales team may ask, oh, my customer, my prospect has a question about this. Just hit them with the learning library that you have pre-recorded with this content. You can stand something up like this really easily. I was chatting with Christy last night, who was showing me a Google site that she set up with something just like this. This is not only going to save you time from fielding questions, it's going to alleviate the questions and tickets your support team is getting, and it's really a fantastic resource to be able to share with your champions. Okay, we're going to go there. We're going to talk about sales to CS handoff. So in this meme here, when it says what they say onboarding will be, I mean the AEs, I mean the sales team. Oh yes, it's amazing. They're going to do everything for you. You can have as many live calls as you want. Okay, well, sometimes pre-sale, I like to envision, it's a sales funnel. They're just kind of kicking that customer down the funnel, and they start on a chute rather than a ladder. And then I'm having to go in and try to bring the customer back up. You can do yourselves and your sales teams and your customers a huge favor by having everyone on your team that conducts onboarding record a couple of evergreen videos. You are going to have each of these CSMs record a quick elevator pitch. I recommend having a shorter version and a longer version. 2 minutes hits the mark when you're working with sales professionals, and then you might have one that's more like 5 minutes where you go a little bit more into depth. In this video, you're going to have the CSM show their face. They're going to introduce themselves, and they're going to say, hey, here's what the onboarding journey looks like, and here's going to be our first step together. Here's the value we're going to be providing you, the types of milestones we're going to be working on together, and the types of successes you can expect to see within your first 60 days. Provide these to your sales team and say, go wild sharing these pre-sales. Next time your customer is asking, okay, I'm interested in this tool, but what does your onboarding in CS look like? And your sales team can surface that video from you. It's a really great way to show your value. Sales teams love it, and it creates a much nicer and smoother handoff to your onboarding team. Also remember, if you have a camera on in your video, people are much less likely to ghost you. If somebody sees your face smiling and waving and you say their name, they're at least going to give you a heads up if they need to reschedule the meeting or find somebody else who can join. Now, we know in customer success that it's very important we share back moments of impact throughout the entire customer journey. It's not enough just to say, oh, we're working towards this big milestone at your go live or at your launch. Like those staircase steps, we want to be able to be showing the value in little bite-sized increments along the way. Video is a sneaky, great way to do this and to use this to expand and multi-thread, because videos are 52% more likely to be shared than any other type of content. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to record a quick video and say, congratulations, you guys are doing a fantastic job getting up and running in the tool so far. I see that you guys have done X, Y, Z, and you just talk a little bit about the value that they have achieved. Mr. Champion, you've done a fantastic job of getting your team to this point so far. Keep up the good work, and here's some things we're going to be working on next. These really shareable, celebratory nuggets that you're sharing in a video, your champion's going to share that with their boss. They're going to share that across their org and say, oh, look what my team accomplished using this tool. Your team could accomplish this tool. Your team could accomplish this also. And by the way, be sure you're tracking all of this. Videos can have an oversized impact within onboarding programs, but this can only happen if they are findable and relevant. I encourage you to go beyond kind of the obvious engagement metrics that you can track. Of course, you want to know who's viewing your video, the number of views that it's getting, where people are dropping off, if they're clicking through to a CTA that you have. But what makes this data really impactful if you can actually turn it into a lead generation source. I call these video qualified leads, the whole new way to generate leads, and it's great for expanding and multi-threading. Be sure whatever video tool you use, you have set up an integration with your CRM, and the biggest thing you want to do is when somebody watches one of your videos, you want to be sure a new lead is created for that individual in your Salesforce instance. So you want to not only track people who are watching the video who maybe you're already in touch with. It's great that we can track which of our accounts are engaging with our content. But what if our video is shared and all of a sudden, hey, the head of sales has watched this video. We get notified about this, and now I know, well, sales is checking out our tool. Maybe there's an expansion opportunity at play here, and I can reach out to that individual. You can set up some fantastic automations for this. We can be just like Isla Fisher here and be just really effective at getting to these points of contact that can help to grow the account and make the account successful in the long term. I use a really cool data tool called Pocus for this, and it essentially has playbooks and automations set up so that if a new contact watches one of the videos that I've shared with an account and they are within a certain persona or have a certain leadership title, it automatically fires off an email to them with some kind of welcome email. Timing is everything, so you really want to stay on top of this and use data to automate some of these touch points. A couple of additional tips around how to effectively communicate using video. Now, there's an argument to be made for how scalable should your content be versus how personal should your content be. Of course, it's going to be much more time-consuming if you're recording one by one a video for every person that you're talking to. So I'm a big fan of creating scalable content. But if you are going to create one personal video, if you're going to say for every account we're going to do this one thing, let it be in your welcome email, which has 10 times the click-through rate and 4 times the open rate. Say the customer's name, smile, and wave. This personal video at the beginning of their journey, letting them know you are here to help, goes a long way. We're also entering an age where being human counts for everything. AI is fantastic and it's automating a lot of things, but it goes a long way to see a human and know you're actually talking to somebody who's real in that first email. Make sure that you have a CTA or a call to action at the end of your video. If you want them to book a call with you, it's your calendar link. If you want them to sign up for a beta, it's a link to the sign-up sheet. But be sure you have them doing something. It's really important that you take your viewers from passive watchers to actively engaged and taking an action. So guide them to do this by having a button directly on top of your video. Don't assume that people who are watching your video are brand new and even need this content. You want to make sure that your content is skippable. Nothing's worse than if you sign into a tool and you have to go through a series of screens and you're like, I'm not a new user, I know this already, let me get to work here. So have that nice X button. Make sure you have captions. People might be watching audio off if they're in an office setting or even in a public setting. And leave something to be desired. The content needs to be bite-sized. Don't give it all away. Use the video as a way to infuse some tone or excitement into a process you want to talk about, to get somebody to check out an announcement. Use it as a way to draw attention versus just totally replacing all of the great content that you likely already have in place. Another sneaky tip for you, I've got Christy's LinkedIn back here, and this is something we do a lot when we're creating videos, and we're trying to get in touch with somebody. And it's hard to get people's attention often if you haven't had a warm introduction. Share something recognizable on your screen. I will go so far as to pull up somebody's LinkedIn photo on my screen. I put my camera bubble in the middle, I smile and wave, and then in my title, I make sure to add their name. It says, for Christy, and then in your email subject line, you're gonna write video for Christy, because our research has shown that if you include the word video and somebody's first name, you can automatically increase your open rates by 26%. Christy's like, what's this? It's a video. For me, could this be spam? But no, she opens it. This video is embedded. It's not a link. We're just smiling and waving, and there's her face. She's like, what could this be? It's for me. I'm gonna open it. In your videos, be human, be yourselves. It's not about being polished and perfect. If you stumble or ah, it's actually a much better experience. It's more engaging to watch. You'll get a laughing emoji out of it. It's not fun to watch a robot speak. So be yourself and take the pressure off of yourself. It can be easy to create video content if you don't push yourself to be polished and perfect. Let's see. Okay. Now, a note about production values, because this is going to become more relevant, and it's something we in the enterprise video world are starting to pay attention to. Relatability and authenticity reign supreme and have historically been far more important than production quality, although we are starting to see this shift with Gen Z for the first time. I'm sorely reminded of this when I go on TikTok and I see some kind of video or reel made by somebody on Gen Z, and I'm like, oh yeah, I couldn't do that. How do they make that look so wonderful? So that's going to be becoming a trend. However, luckily, AI is catching up with this. There's going to be things like cam avatars and video avatars that are going to help to polish and perfect video content. But from doing this for several years, my advice is to keep it human, keep it real. Your onboarding can not only educate your customers, it can build a relationship, it can be fun, it can be memorable, and it can be engaging and a differentiator for you. So, if you are ready to get started, either implementing video or up-leveling your onboarding using video at your work, let me re-highlight my top tips for you of what your CSMs should start by doing. Remember, you don't need a Hollywood budget. There are a ton of video tools out there that you can use. First, every CSM or onboarding manager needs a warm intro that feels authentic. You can have an evergreen version of this that you've pre-recorded once, and maybe every time you get a new customer, you record a 5-second intro where you say that person's name and you stitch it onto that evergreen piece of content. Now it only takes you 5 seconds to create a personalized video for every new customer. Put that into the welcome email. Start sending pre-watches ahead of important live meetings. Reduce your CSM's talk time on that meeting. Get the customer talking. Move anything that's a one-way dissemination of information into that pre-watch video so you can get on the call and say, all right, what did you think about that? Get right into that conversation. Save everybody time. Think about turning those Q&As into FAQs. If you are getting the same question over and over and over again, today is the day to stop that by just recording a video on that topic and surfacing it in a sequence for your customers. And lastly, create a better partnership with your sales teams by arming them with both a short video and a little bit of a longer format video, introducing the value of onboarding and CS at your org. Well, that's it for me, everybody. I have just a couple of minutes to take a few questions before lunch. Thank you.
Awesome presentation, Brittany. Question around effective channels. So video is an amazing medium within product, or I know you said the welcome email, POCUS, you use it. What are some ways that people can leverage this?
I recommend you put your videos wherever your communication is already taking place. If you're typically working with your customers over email, embed your videos in your email. And a note on embedding versus just plopping in a link, an embedded video, even a thumbnail embed, is 300 times more likely to be clicked than a link. It's also less likely to go into a spam filter. So that's really important if you're putting it in videos. Internally, people are often using video in Slack or whatever their chat app is. So your goal is not to create another channel where people have to go, but to put it where people are already going to learn. Great question, thank you.
Can you embed your videos in like a meeting invite where you could talk about like, hey, here's the agenda for the meeting, can you prep for these things, and have it embedded in a meeting invite?
Ooh, that's a fantastic question. I haven't played around with that before. I think that you can. Our tool, for example, has a Gmail integration, which I can embed a video seamlessly across the G Suite. I haven't tried putting one in a calendar invitation before, but I am going to do that. I think that's a great idea. And most video tools will have an embed button. So as long as wherever you're putting it has embed options to embed code, then you should be able to do that. That's a fantastic point. Thank you.
Last question.
Great discussion. What tips do you have to help people overcome their self-consciousness about recording videos when working with your CSM team that maybe isn't doing videos regularly?
Oh yes, that is the biggest hurdle to implementing video, so I'm glad you called that out. I think the biggest thing is encouraging your team that it's about being human and being transparent, and not like, oh, you're creating these, really perfect videos. There are also features you can use in video tools called speaker notes, which will allow you to have kind of an invisible script on your screen while you're recording. So the CSM can read it while they're recording, but it doesn't actually show up in the final video. So features like that take some pressure off. And there's also, we're telling people to keep it short and sweet. So we can say, just try to nail a 1-minute intro or something like that. Eventually you can start stitching clips together to build more content. All right, everybody, thank you so much.